The story of street art begins in the 60s, as cities and urban sprawl gave birth to new life and ways of living. And with these new lives came new voices. People who wanted to express themselves in a new form, in the places they knew. As street art began to gain traction, a whole generation of young men and women were making their voices heard. However, street art is no longer in its Wild West era. Over the last 30 years, street art moved from an individualised, rebellious expression into a collective endeavour. As some places like Brighton assimilated street art as a part of their culture, bringing in tourists with spray paint and bright colours, appealing to a new, young, urban audience. We caught up with the graffiti artists to see how they feel about the practices and community of street art in the seaside city. Dante.
How are you, man?
Right, nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you.
So you're going to take us to a couple of places.
Yeah, I'm just going to show you around. In UK, there's like a big culture of like writing your name, or like you have a specific tag and you put like, you know, you fill it in, or you put it like really high and you go somewhere dangerous to do it. But when I tag, I'm like an artist, make music. When I make art, I don't want to infringe, and I don't want to do like anything that, like, I don't really care. I'll paint wherever, but I don't want to like I put my eye inside other people's tags, or I find stuff that's already there and I make something from it rather than finding something that's like pristine. Or
do you prefer this or this side? This is a lot more raw. Maybe
as an artist, I like the contrast. I want this and this to be on. I don't want either to be alone. I feel like this being opposite this makes this much better, and this being opposite this makes this much better. That's the point of graffiti to me, is like all these artists coming out and literally spending their own money to put their art in the street where everyone can experience it and anyone can change it. There's like little streets like this where people just come in. Yeah, it's very different, but I feel like that, like, you know, it looks it's like it's a dirty street, but just if you paint in it, it makes it more, like slightly more nicer to come into.
do you think it's nicer?
I think it's nicer. I think it's funnier for sure. It's like, you know, it would be boring otherwise, just be a dirty wall next to a bed fed.
Do you think that adding graffiti to the wall always makes it better?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you add like a swastika or something,
Yeah, right.
obviously it won't make it better, but at the end of the day, it's an expression. I feel like even if it is a swastika, you are saying something, and someone could come back and now paint over it and say this is bad.
So if there is a problem with street art, is that people aren't doing it enough?
In my opinion, yes, but if you ask someone else, probably not. Yeah.
Would you explain what it is that's so attractive about, or compelling about doing this to someone who just didn't get it? Like, they live in the countryside, they vote Conservative. What would you say to them to help them see?
I wouldn't know. I guess I'd have to know the person on like what they do. Like, I feel like everyone needs an escape in some way, and expression in like art expression, painting is one of the easiest way. And if you in a public, I don't even know if I would talk to them, honestly. But I don't know what I'd say to them. Wait, tell them. I just tell them to try it. There's only one way to find out, and if they don't like it after trying it, then fair enough.
You know what? That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Look at that. It's just like dribbling out the top.
Nah.
I see you go down to a cold mirror. It was never clearer in my era, so you lick a shine on your forehead, or check it by the signs in the corridor. You like my ways through the club maze. We would struggle through the tough days. myself an air upon my lover. It's how you go down to the men's room sink. It's how we talk of how my men think. I sing myself an air upon my lover. I don't know her from another miss. I don't know you from another. See me run, now you're gone. Dream on.
Having gotten some first-hand experience, we sought out what we saw as the other end of street art, muralists. Paid and professional. We wanted to see Brighton graffiti from the other end of the law. We reached out to more than 30 artists and got one who was happy to share their thoughts. So much for professional. We asked him about the perceived distinct worlds of graffiti artists and muralists, but he gave us a different perspective. That the difference isn't about legal or illegal, but about the meaning of pieces. That street art divides by emotional core and not by class. While graffiti as he defines it has an obvious surface meaning, a mural does more, such as remembrances or celebrations that ripple out to the wider community. When we asked him about Brighton, he says he sees it as cosy, a small, vibrant place, good for any budding artist to find a home. Despite that, the scene is smaller than we thought, with only 10 to 20 artists being responsible for most of the art one would see around town. We were also shocked to find that even the most professional looking works often don't come with permission, despite how prominent street art is in the culture of the city. So much for paid. Finally, to round out our education, we got in touch with some locals to get their 2 cents.
I don't think it should be illegal. I think most of the time there's a difference between vandalism, like just breaking shit, and like graffiti, because it adds to the city. And generally, like anywhere, not just a city, like any urban environment looks better with graffiti than without.
I think it shouldn't be illegal because it is like a form of art, and it is a way for people to express themselves. So I don't see why that should be illegal.
I think Brighton specifically, it's like, it's a really chilled out place, and like the character of the city and like the people who move here is all very like, you know, freedom of expression, doing what you want. And I think that street art, it sort of resonates with that because it's not planned, it's just people doing what they want to, where they want to. And, well, it's indie, innit? It's all quite, it's independent. And Brighton's all about that.